I'm going to do this practice right now of loving kindness, seeing if we can touch in a little bit with this unconditional friendliness. And what the practice is there's traditional phrases of friendliness that we generally will start to send out to people, or it could be an animal, or it could be a space. But we'll see if we can invoke a message of goodwill, sending out these messages. And in the traditional practice, there's very traditional phrases of may you be happy, may you be well, may you be free from suffering. So I'm going to guide us in a practice where we will settle our mind a little bit and come to resting. And then I'll invite you to bring to mind somebody who kindness flows towards quite naturally, or maybe even somebody who you know is struggling in this moment. Or it could be those working on the front lines in this difficult moment. Or it could be a pet or an animal or a space that you're missing because you are in self-isolation. Whatever it may be, really giving your mind permission to be creative. And as we bring this person to mind, or this animal or space, we can send these messages. But then what I'm going to do is we're going to go a little step further and see what it might be like to say these phrases for the two of you, or for the two of us, with switching the wording to may we be happy, may we be well, may we be free from suffering. And then, if it feels okay, moving to see if we can send these phrases to ourselves with a bit of self-compassion as we're facing this difficult moment. Just can we start to really invoke that unconditional friendliness, not only for others around us, but also towards ourselves. Okay, so we're going to see what this might be like. Sometimes when we're doing this practice, there might be a bit of obstacles popping up, or resistance, a shutting down. That's okay. This happens sometimes for all of us. But if the practice ever becomes overwhelming or difficult, please give yourself permission to just drop it and to just come back to resting with the breath as it moves through the body. This in itself is an act of self-kindness. Okay? So we're just trying to really create and cultivate a bit of kindness as we come together in practice. So before we start the practice, I'd like to ask, does anyone have any questions about it before we begin? No? Okay. One of the really important things about this practice is not necessarily the words that we use, but the feeling behind the words. So if these words are feeling really awkward, or maybe you feel like they're words you wouldn't normally use, again, giving yourself permission to play with the practice and find whatever phrases mean something to you. So it might be, may you have the strength to get through this moment. May you have the wisdom to carry on, whatever it might be, giving yourself permission to finding your own phrases. I will be guiding with the traditional phrases. So just really playing with it and seeing what it feels like, and if you can find your way into getting to that emotion behind sending out this unconditional friendliness, not only to someone who you feel might need it, but also sending it to ourselves. Okay? Shall we begin? Yes? Okay. Okay. So beginning as we always do, with just taking a moment to finding a posture that's going to really support the practice. So maybe even having a wiggle in the seat, allowing the body to fall into its sweet spot of comfort. Allowing the body to sit upright and strong and noble. But at the same time, inviting the body to soften a little bit, to relax. Maybe even as a first act of kindness, just touching in with all of the muscles around the eyes, jaw, shoulders. Noticing if there's any gripping or tension, and if there is, just inviting them to soften, to release. So we're finding a posture that's really going to reflect our intention to cultivate a bit of unconditional friendliness, kindness. Not only for ourselves, but for others as well. So just taking a moment to set this intention. And then to visit our motivation to do so. Maybe just asking the question of, why is this important to me? So how might it be helpful to cultivate this kindness and this friendliness? Not only for myself, but for all those around me. What is my motivation? And then allowing these questions to just rest for a moment, knowing that if we ever become overwhelmed or lost in this practice, we can always just simply come back to our intention. And then turning the attention to the breath. So again, rather than thinking about the breath, seeing if we can touch into what it feels like to breathe. Noticing all the small ways and all the big ways that this body receives and releases this breath. Noticing all the movements. Maybe it's touching in with the sensation of the rush of air inside of the nose or the mouth. The gentle rise and fall of the shoulders. The expansion of the chest, tummy, Wherever it is that you can feel the breath moving, just resting your attention here. And if the mind is feeling quite distracted in this moment, we can introduce a second support just to help it settle. So maybe introducing a phrase of breathing in, breathing out. So we're resting our attention with this soothing rhythm of breath and the phrase. And the mind will still move off. Thoughts will still catch its attention. Conversations, plans, memories. Again, this is okay. This is what the mind does. We notice that the mind has moved off. This kindness and this gentleness just coming back to the soothing rhythm, breath, breath, and the phrase. And as the mind slowly starts to settle, and when it does, and in your own time, dropping this phrase and turning the attention to the out breath. And again, staying connected to how it feels in the body to let go with each out breath. Noticing all the ways the body releases. Maybe even noticing the body's natural tendency to relax just a little bit with each out breath. And then seeing if the mind can follow suit. And with each out breath, the mind releases constriction around thoughts, involvement with thinking. And with each out breath, the mind just drops down a little bit further to resting in the body. So as this body rests supported by this earth, the mind rests supported by this body. This strong, soft, breathing body. And before we begin the practice of loving kindness, I'd like to read a poem. This poem is called Forget About Enlightenment by John Welwood. Forget about enlightenment. Sit down wherever you are and listen to the wind singing in your veins. Feel the love, the longing, the fear in your bones. Open your heart to who you are right now, not who you'd like to be, not the saint you're striving to become, but the being right here before you, inside you, around you. All of you is holy. You're already more and less than whatever you can know. Breathe out, touch in, let go. Just remembering once again that as we begin this practice of loving kindness, if you become overwhelmed at any point or lost in distraction, you can always come back to our intention to cultivate kindness and friendliness, and to simply breathe out, touch in, and let go. So as we begin the practice, I invite you to bring to mind somebody who kindness flows towards quite naturally. So maybe it's somebody who you know is struggling right now in this moment. Maybe it's a family member or an old friend or colleague. Again, maybe it's the frontliners working so hard to take care of everybody who's affected by this virus. And you might get an image of this person, or maybe even just a felt sense of their presence, or you can see a picture, or hear their voice, however it is, just seeing if you can play with it. And if no one comes, that's okay too. Again, just resting with the intention. And as we bring this person to mind, see if we can touch in with these phrases, saying these phrases to them. May you be happy. May you be well. May you be free from suffering. May you be happy. May you be safe. May you live with ease. So again, if these phrases don't feel comfortable, giving yourself permission to finding your own. May you be healthy. May you be strong. May you find the wisdom necessary to make it through this difficult moment. May you flourish. Just noticing how this feels to say these phrases. It's happening in the body. And then if it feels okay and it feels comfortable, seeing if you can say these phrases for the two of you. So maybe imagining that you're sitting with this person, or maybe it's a pet. Sitting beside them, in front of them. Just getting a felt sense of togetherness. May we be happy. May we be well. May we be free from suffering. May we be happy. May we be safe. May we live with ease. And again, seeing if you can find your own phrases. May we be happy. May we be healthy. May we flourish. And then if it feels okay, and again, only if it feels okay, seeing what it might be like to saying these phrases for yourself. And sometimes it's helpful to placing a hand on the heart, so feeling that gesture of warmth, or imagining a younger version of yourself or a picture, whatever way it is that you can find your way in to this unconditional friendliness, sending it to yourself. May I be happy. May I be well. May I be free from suffering. May I be happy. May I be safe. May I live with ease. And again now, seeing if you can touch in with whatever message of self-compassion you feel that you need to hear right now, finding your own words and sending this kindness to yourself. May I be strong. May I be wise. May I flourish. And as we're coming towards the end of this practice, maybe seeing if we can collectively send these wishes out to all of us here in this virtual room. May we all be happy. May we all be safe. May we all be free from suffering. And broadening out those wishes to anybody out there who is working so hard and diligently to looking after our communities, those in the shops, in the pharmacies, in the hospitals, those delivering food, those delivering supplies to the shops, everybody who's working so hard to keeping us well. May they be happy. May they be safe. May they be free from suffering. And extending it out even further to all beings. May all beings be happy. May all beings be safe. May all beings be free from suffering.